What's going on YouTube? This is Brent031. We're here in the great state of Missouri. I'm at the One Shepherd Leadership Institute with Dr. Chris Larsen, who's one of the original founders. Today he's going to give us a little period of instruction over how to properly camouflage a human face. Chris, let's go ahead and give us a little period of instruction here.
Okay, so what we're going to do, or what we're going to cover today, will be three different styles to solving the same problem. So the U.S. style, of course, which you know we're very fond of, tries to do a complete coverage. The South Korean Army solves the same problems but in a very unique way, and they're not quite as complete. And then I'd say the most sparing is the UK, the British Army style, and you'll see a completely different look. Yet what's really interesting is that all three truly do solve the problem. All right, Mike, can you remove your cover? Thank you. All right, let's have you look over here, and you'll see that Mike has the quintessential human face, surprisingly enough. What that means is that the light will cast certain shadows that are very predictable. It'll be around the eye sockets, both eye sockets, under the nose, and then down below the chin. These are the natural pattern. And the human eye, over 300,000 years of evolution, or whatever it is we do, or de-evolution. Anyway, the point is the human eye can pick that up. We can pick that up even in non-human objects. We see the man in the moon, we see faces in clouds, we see faces and patterns everywhere, so we really pick that up quickly. So the task here, what all three militaries do, is they learn to take those shadows and either reverse them, pull them, or offset them. And that's what I'm going to talk about today, how each one addresses those issues. All right? I'm going to use, because we're in a green environment, I'm going to use green, brown, and black. You could use two. You could use, a brown and a green. Better yet would be a black and a green, and I'll talk about why that is. But the colors doesn't matter. The type of camouflage doesn't really matter as long as it matches the environment. So without further ado, let's get Mike dirty. All right, here we go. Turn a little bit this way, and I'm going to start. I'm going to actually start with the lighter colors. I like the lighter colors to begin because it's just a simple pragmatic thing. When you put the lighter colors on the palette, the darker colors go over them better than vice versa. So here we go. We're going to just splotch somewhere. And this is, some people say, it's the woodland splotch. Well, it might be. But it's really a splotching technique. So I grab a bunch, and you notice I'm not small with it. You can get all creative, but there's no need to be. Just grab something, and what I'm doing there is I'm shoving the lightest color I have right into that whole eye socket, and then I'm going down. So that's a good thing, I'll argue, because as I do that, it lightens up the shadows. And you'll see how we use other colors, the darker colors, to pull or offset. So now I'm grabbing that. This is there we go. Sorry, the high levels, the high bones, those are the points. So you say, wow, I don't ever want to put light color on the cheekbone, the nose, the chin. And while that's generally well advised, here's the problem. Here's a problem. The problem is that people then put light color on all the low points and a dark color on all the high points. And what we get is a chimpanzee face. And amazingly enough, humans can recognize a chimpanzee face too. Almost as easy as they can recognize a human face. I'm not trying to say it's a chimpanzee in the moon. We all know it's a human, but wait, that's deep. No, it's a human. All right, so I throw on some green. Now, within hues, browns are really not darker. So, particularly in this kind of environment, I use brown sparingly. But you still have all the 5 S's of camouflage. So I throw in brown just because the color is represented in the environment around us, and it also just breaks up a solid green face, right? So, but if you were to take black and white, this is what a hue is different than a color. You take black and white, you'll notice that the browns aren't much different than the greens. So it doesn't have much darker hue, just slightly. But the big thing, of course, is it has a different color. All right. Mike, can you look up at the sky a bit? Thanks. And I should say that I'm going a little easy on Mike here, mostly for the sake of, I don't want him to have to get a haircut. He doesn't have much to lose. But the reality is that I could actually take this all the way around his head, and that is truly the American, you can look down a little bit now, that's truly the American doctrine, is that no skin should show. And so even at the bottom of his neck, he'll go ahead and put up that Chinese collar later. All right, so we got a little bit there, and I want just a little bit here. And the reason I do that is I want to make sure that if I see him from the front, the side, that I see a good breakup of the color. Just something like that. All right, so we got brown on there. Let me smooth that out a bit. Got it. Got it. All right. So now the real tell. Yeah. Oh, no, that's good. Never mind. So now the real tell. Now what I've got to do is I can do an offset, which is that I can actually use dark in many different areas that are not in the shadows. That's called an offset. A pole is for me to go, and that's what I'm going to do on this eye socket here. A pole is for me to use a black and then pull at some angle so it no longer looks that same shape. Yes. And then the reverse. So yeah, the reverse is just simply to come in. And you see this like in World War II videos and stuff, or videos, movies. And the thing is pretty fairly accurate. They would take a very dark, just a single color, like a black, and they would run across the high tops of the bone. And I call that the T. It goes like this, it goes down here, and then sometimes they'll pull from the eye socket down the cheek. And you'll see that World War II style. But this is going to be a little different. So I come in here and I use a lot of it. And what I'm doing really, to be honest, is I'm just owning up that this is a shadow. So I'm going to come in and grab that shadow. I'm going to fill it in and say, yep, it is. Now at this point, we could pull it down like that and go clear across. But what I'm really going to do is I'm going to do a combination of a pull and an offset. So you can see both. That's the pull. And then I'm going to go ahead and do an offset. Oh yes, Mike. You look marvelous. You look marvelous.
Happy little tree.
You know you like it. All right. See, and then I can come over here and I just want to break this up a bit too. So I'll follow that. Ooh, I know what I'll do. I'll do a nice big V. And see, this is what I was talking about earlier. You can see the black goes over the green much easier than vice versa. Splotch it on. Now I'm using a cream. You can use a 2-color stick. You can still get the same effect, right? But I'm using a cream because I like the fact that when a cream goes on, for me anyway, once it dries, once you get it to dry, and you can see it's good and wet right now, but once it dries really flat, and I think it tends to stick very well. I think it tends to stick better. I think it has a longer hang time. Now that's not true with everybody because it does truly depend on your skin type, whether you're oily or dry. It also depends, frankly, on the amount of sweating. Are you swimming through the ocean? Go ahead and open your eyes, bud. I think I'm done. And you can go ahead and put on your cover. Okay, so this is the American doctrine. You can see, like I said, it's complete coverage. We're using a U.S. splotch method, and again, we've done some offsets here, so that we're hitting the high points and pulling them down on this side of the face. We've done a pole here and in a combination with an offset. So there we go. We got that one. That's the U.S. This is the U.S. solution to the problem. Okay. Next, let's look at a South Korean solution to the problem. All right. Mike, you want to stand right there? Brendan, would you remove your cover, please? All right. Here we go. The South Koreans have the same theory behind it, but what they do is you'll commonly see this. They'll use a bold diagonal striping, and they'll do it two-color like green and black, or in the winter black and white. But they also do three-color as well. And no matter what the product they use, their whole entire thing is to grab this bold stripe, which in effect acts as a great big pull down the center of the face. And that's great because it breaks up that natural shadow. And then they'll do lighter colors to the side, and they might actually do as many as 3 dark pulls across the face, which in theory are pulls, but in fact, since they run right across everything, it's a combination of a pull and an offset. So, yeah, you know what? Let me think about that. Yeah, first one I'm going to do. I'm going to violate what I said, and let's see how this turns out, because I want to focus on the great big pull. And when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and start with dark. And he said, he just broke his own rule. I did. It's true. But that's why I make rules. If you don't believe me, just ask the staff of one shepherd. I'm famous for drug deals. I mean, no. Is that famous or infamous? Beshti, are you even awake right now? Okay. Okay, can you look up? All right. So we've got this really dynamic, very bold stroke like that. And what I'm going to do is, believe it or not, I'm going to actually switch now so that I can go to the lighter colors. And oh, by the way, I will say this: have a rag with you, but I just use my pants. Oh shit! I should have been using his pants. Oh shit! I can't say that on YouTube. All right. So bold strokes of the turn. You're gonna owe me something because I'm covering up all those gray hairs. You should use this when you go to the bar. Look up. One and the same. There's a virile young warrior. I can tell because his hair is still green, and he's wearing mascara. All right, and we could just keep doing this. That a little more even. Yeah, I can come clean that up later. Actually, you can see it right here that when you're using a lighter color against a darker color, it's already starting to blend, but that's easy to clean up. Or you just say, I don't care. One of the two. I'm going to have you look up again. Good. I can clean that up later because I'm going to have to put another black stroke there. Right? All right. And you know what? I am going to keep this two color because they often do. I mean, I've seen them throw in light, like where they'll use actually a very light gray, and just to break that up. And that's actually pretty cool because the sunlight does this. I'm told, and I believe it, I don't know if it's true or not, but I choose to believe it, that there is no black in nature. Or it's a very, very rare thing to actually see black in nature. But here's what the human eye does. The human eye picks up black as depth. At least if the Gestalt theorists of the 1920s and 30s are correct, I'll have you look this way, that's actually what's going on, is the human eye picks it up as depth. And so when you have a good contrast of lights, very lights and darks, what you're seeing is the lights as foreground, closer to you. And you're seeing the darks as background. I'll go ahead and clean up your nose a little because I'm a perfectionist. Yeah. What's wrong with you, bestie? All right. Sure, you want to play that one? Fine. All right, let's get you one more time with the green, and we'll wrap this up. But that's the other thing I noticed, that the Koreans, they don't have the, while they do these bold colors on the face, and I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it out a little bit here, they often only do the face. I've seen it, or I very rarely see anybody go down the neck, except in the direction they're pulling, perhaps. Okay. But this is an American interpretation of the South Korean. It doesn't taste quite the same, but it's very filling. You look marvelous. All right, let's go ahead and have you throw on the your cover. And again, that pulls. You can see this is the South Korean solution to it, and again, you can see what it's doing. It's doing a series of pulls and offsets across that big dark bold right across it. Grabs this eye, pulls it over the highlight of this, grabs that shadow and pulls it down through the chin. And that's the South Korean solution to face camouflage. I think it achieves, in a very different way, the same thing that the U.S. does. Okay? All right. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on over here to Matt. Matt, can I have you remove your cover? All right. Now with Matt, what we're going to do is we're going to use the UK solution. And the UK, interestingly enough, says all the same things are true. They recognize the shadows and the highlights of the face, but what they say is don't cover everything, that you use the camouflage sparingly. And I used to tease them that's because they didn't have enough to go around. They're cheap bastards. No, I'm kidding. So what they will do is they'll do a series of splotching that won't necessarily be connected. So, but they do it the same way that we do. So, and they tend to, there's lots of different ways, but what you'll tend to see is they grab and they just go like this. It's almost like, so they're pulling out and pulling out. And that's what I'm going to do with him. So they see, the highlights here, and they'll grab a green and they'll say, well, let's do something like that. All right, okay, that's good, mate. And then they'll come over here and they'll say, well, we've got to get some on this. And so maybe they'll pull a bit here. And yeah, let's grab your eye and pull there. All right. Then they're going to want to break it up. This is if you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. Man, that's such plagiarism. You can't say that on YouTube. I'm sorry. We're going to do, I'm going to pull that one. So I'm going to, and right through here. Good. We're going to have to do the same thing over here. Good. Good. And now they'll go for the dark. Actually, before I do that, let me do some on green on your nose, because there you go. Got it. All right, we're going to go for the dark. And so this is a really good example of a pull. They're going to grab this and just go like that. You're going to grab up here, go like that, do an offset, like that, and do a pull. Go like that. Go ahead and do a little bit on your ear. Okay. Close your eye and get that in. Sorry, bud. Okay, and so go ahead and put on your cover. And so this is a more minimal approach. They notice that they leave a lot of skin showing, but it still does the same thing. It throws in the color, it breaks up the skin, it grabs the dark shadows and pulls them away. It uses offset, but it just splashes it on because they just don't want to do everything. They think the skin color is a natural color, and so this would be a UK solution. If I can have you hop down, all three of you stand up. We'll just do one final look at this, a side-by-side comparison. You're good. And so, again, the UK solution, the South Korean solution, the bold strokes, and then finally, the good old US solution to face camouflage.